because I see the two guys, the guy that got in the back seat of that car and the guy that was in the passenger seat walking up on the back of the car. One got an AK and one got a pistol. And I hang up on my sister after telling her, hey, we finna get shot.
Behind every smile is a story of pain, strength, and resilience. The Blueprint Podcast is where those stories are told, where we heal, evolve, and reclaim what's ours. And whether you're a woman finding her voice or a man ready to listen and grow, this space is for you. Together, we rise back into her. Before we begin, please note that today's conversation may include topics that could be sensitive or triggering. Listeners' discretion is advised. Hey, y'all! Thank you so much for joining me on another episode of The Blueprint. My name is Yanique, and I'm your friend, your sister, and your host for today. This season, we are focusing on her. Whether you already know you are her or you are in the process of becoming her, we all fall off at times, but healing is possible, evolving is possible, and reclaiming is possible. But before I tell you about today's guest, now is the time for you to subscribe and get locked in so that you can know about future episodes. And please share it. Someone out there needs to hear this. But today's guest is someone whose story reminds us that we're not here by accident. We're here on an assignment. She is a walking miracle, a woman of deep purpose and unshakable faith. We're going to talk to Rose and honor her strength and her heart. She has been through so much unthinkable things that a lot of us probably wouldn't have been able to survive, but she did. And today she has entrusted me to tell her story. And I can't wait to get into it with you guys. So let's bring her in. Welcome, Rose. Hi.
Right.
How are you feeling?
I'm okay. Nervous.
Nervous, yes. Guys, she called me and she said, I'm a bit nervous. I know I want to tell my story, but I don't know how. And I'm nervous. So tell us, Rose, who are you today? This version of Rose. If someone should ask you to describe yourself, what would you tell them?
I'm healing. I'm in the period of healing. I feel good about the space I'm in. I'm happy that it's starting. It's been a long time coming. Like I said, that the shooting happened in 2009. It just triggered a downhill road for me. And I finally feel like I can see the light. Finally feel like I'm getting the help I need.
Yes, 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 yes. You briefly mentioned the shooting. And from what you've told me, you've been through some of the darkest valleys, some things that probably I wouldn't have imagined ever facing myself. But yet you're standing here. You're here to fulfill your purpose with fire. So even though you're nervous, you are still here willing to tell your story.
Yeah.
Where do you think that resilience come from?
I didn't have the choice to give up. I didn't have the option. When that happened to me, my daughter was, I want to say, she was ninth grade. So 14, 15, she was still a baby. Our son at the time was 1, turning 2 weeks after this happened.
Yes.
I didn't have a choice but to keep going. And then I
Yeah.
got family that started to go through after. Like, I never had a choice. It wasn't an option to quit or give up. I didn't have an option.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So let's take the listener through what we're talking about, what you've been through. And please know that you can share what you want to share. You you don't have to tell us anything that you don't want us to know, but share with us so that we can follow your journey as to what you've been through and where all the strength is coming from and why you're still pushing through.
So at this point, the reason that I agreed to do the interview, I'm in a point of healing, right? Like I said.
Yeah.
And I recognized that it's so many women that have these same issues as far as healing. You don't have to have been shot. You don't have to have my story from what got you to a point of needing healing. But the things that I've learned in my healing, it's like I want to share that, not just for women, because it's male or female. You don't have to be
Yeah.
a female to have trauma, issues or things that you need to heal from. But
Yes.
in order for me to help from my point of view, they have to understand what triggered it.
Yeah.
So you can't address the triggers of your PTSD, your anxiety, whatever you have going on. I can't explain to them why I had
Yeah.
these problems. So I figured if I tell the story of the shooting, which is like what started me to even needing to be healed, that's it,
Mm,
that started the ball of rolling of trauma after trauma after trauma.
yes.
So I feel like if they understand that part of it, they'll understand the healing.
Yes. And that's good. Thank you for thinking about others while you yourself is going through your healing. Um, that's definitely commendable because it's one thing to go through what you're going through and you deal with it in silence. But when you're openly thinking, my story can actually help someone else, that's amazing. Let's go there.
Okay.
Your story.
Okay. So let me start here. I grew up in a two-parent household. My mom,
Mm-hmm.
my dad both worked decent jobs.
Mm-hmm.
I have a sister that's 11 years older than me, and then there's three boys that's in between us. So
Okay.
basically, I grew up in what was in the 70s, 80s considered the perfect family, right? So
Yes.
I wasn't privy to necessarily street life. Like I grew up in a neighborhood that was considered hard, but I was
Okay.
sheltered. I was the baby of five, so I was sheltered.
Yeah.
So I didn't know anything about selling drugs, being around it, the street life period. Gang, I didn't know anything about the street life. So
Okay.
my dad was a football coach for a little league here called Matthew Dickey's. He was a football
Okay.
coach, and so he had a bunch of boys that were always around, like the football team. I was a
Yeah.
cheerleader. So I met my son's father when we were young, like we were
Okay.
kids. And it wasn't like a dating thing then. It wasn't until we were grown that we actually like dated. And at the time, I didn't know that side of him. I only knew, how
Mm.
you have childhood friends and then as an adult, they're a different person than
Yep.
who you knew as a child. So I didn't make the connection that he lived another life. And by the
Okay.
time I found out I was pregnant, I think
Ye
that's what triggered him to open up about what was going on in his life. But again, like I said, I'm not street savvy with that, or I wasn't at the time. So I didn't take it serious. I didn't understand how serious the street life was.
yeah.
May 19th, 2009, he had asked me to take him. That's like, okay, prior to this happening, and him kind of were on bad terms. Like, we were just not seeing eye to eye on some things. And this was like the point where we were kind of trying to get it together. He was trying to get his life together. He was trying to get out of the street life. He was finna go to school. He asked me to take him to the school I think he needed to turn in paperwork to enroll, but whatever it was, he asked me to take him. So I
Okay.
take him to the school. He did what he needed to do. And then he asked me to take him in the city to his friend's house. So I'm like, okay, we go down there. I went around the corner and got food from a
Okay.
Chinese restaurant. And while I'm in there getting food, I bump into this girl that I grew up with. And that
Mm.
was odd because we had words or whatever. I go back around the corner and we're sitting in the car. I've ate. And by this point, I've taken my shoes. Now I'm in the driver's seat. I've taken my shoes off and I'm sitting on my feet in the car. And
Mm.
me and him were kind of talking at first, but it's a one-way street we're on. And this car comes down going the wrong way. So I look at it, he look
Oh,
at it. I'm like, that's weird. So they did it again. Now I'm really paying attention. Cause why this car keep coming down the wrong way?
right.
There's a ton of people outside.
Okay.
Kids, adults, like at least 20 people outside. Like just all over the street. Like not necessarily in one spot, but they kind of spread out, but all in the same general area. So they're all outside. I'm thinking nothing of it. The car comes back the right way and stops. And he
Mm.
looks up and he asks one of the guys that's in the crowd, hey, who was that? And the guy didn't say nothing. So I
Mm.
looked because I ain't used to people ignoring him full contact of their face. And he asked again, hey, who is that? He calls the guy's name and goes, hey, who is that? And he goes, the homeboys, like real nasty. And I'm like, you just asked a question why he's so upset. He
Right.
gets in the car, they pull off. I think nothing of it. I'm still sitting in the car on my feet. Now, we're not talking at this point. I get on the phone, call my sister, like, she's a hairdresser. So I'm scheduling
Mhm,
my hair appointment. I'm like, hey, sis, I need this or that. And something's like, look up. I look
mm.
up, and all those people that I told you were out there, gone.
Are you serious?
Gone. The kids, there's nothing in front of us but a minivan. And there was 2 people in there, right? So everybody else is gone. So I'm
Wow.
like, that's weird. Everybody gone, but I don't think nothing of it. See, this is how naive I was. I
Yes,
think
because you
nothing
grew up
of it.
sheltered. Yeah.
Yeah. So I get back on the phone, like, hey, sis, yeah. And something was like, no, look up. But when I look up, I catch a glimpse in the rear view. And I tell my sister, hey, let me call you back. We finna get shot. I hang
Oh.
up the phone on her. I turn, because I see the 2 guys, the guy that got in the back seat of that car and the guy that was in the passenger seat walking up on the back of the car. One got an AK and one got a pistol. And I hang up on my sister after telling her, hey, we finna get shot. I hang up the phone. Now she's panicking. She's called my whole family. So I turned to him and I'm like, hey, we finna get, and before I could tell
Wa
him shot up, they let loose. And
wow.
they just lit the car up. Like, I'm talking about, it seemed like forever, but it was probably only like a minute. You know,
Wow.
might not have been that long, but when you're in it, it feels like forever. So they're
Yes.
shooting, we huddle in together. Like, he's on the passenger side, we huddled in. And when they stopped shooting, I set up, I'm like, man, I was like, man, I'm hit. He said, me too. And I was
Mm.
like, man, this effed up. Like, mind you, I'm still not realizing
Yeah, like yeah, it's
how
not
bad it is. I'm
registering.
only thinking that I got hit in my hand because no, in the back of my head. I could feel the blood running down my neck. So that's
Oh.
the only thing that I'm thinking is wrong with me. So I'm like, man, this messed up. I try to put the car in gear, but when they shooting, they whatever they did, they stripped something under there. I couldn't get the car to go in gear at all.
Mm.
I don't know where my brain was at, what it was thinking. I jumps out the car and starts running. Like, I don't know where I thought I was going, but I run into his friend house. Mind you, I said we're in front of his friend house.
Oh,
I run in the house and I open the door and I look at all of those people that were outside in the house
so the friend knew.
looking at me like, how are you still alive? That's the look. I knew then. I knew then that it was everybody knew but us. I look, he got a mirror on this mantle in his house. I look in the mirror because I'm like, I know I'm hitting I feel the blood running down my neck. I thought I had glass in my hand because my hand was bleeding, but the window had shattered. So I'm thinking there's glass in my hand. I'm thinking I'm okay, right? I go back to the door. I'm standing there. He gets out the car. I don't know how. He gets out the car. It's blood all over his shirt. He got on this brown and cream colored polo shirt stripe. Him and my son had alike. And it was blood
Mhm,
all over the shirt,
mhm.
over the front of the shirt. We make eye contact and he falls. And I'm screaming. Now I don't call my mama. Mama, we
Yeah,
just got shot. And then I said, hold on. I didn't even call the police first. I called my
yeah.
mama. I said, let me call you back. Hang up on her. Now she panicking. She don't call everybody. So
Everybody.
my phone blowing up. Somebody, the minivan that was in front of us pulled off when I got out the car. They came back around. She said, I don't know what happened. I called the police. I was like, okay, because never did I think to call the police. So he's on the ground and I'm kind of walking back and forth. By this point, I'm like out of it. And I call his mom. Like, that's the hardest thing to have to do. Call somebody's mother and tell them,
Mm.
like, I had to call her and be like, your son just got shot. Like, she was around the corner. Now, mind you, I was supposed to pick my son up from her prior to us going over there, but she hadn't
Wow.
made it back from wherever she went. And if she had him, my baby would have been in there. His seat was Swiss cheese. So he got out the car. Um, let me see where I was at.
We got out of the car.
Him falling on the
We got
ground. So the
yeah.
police come, like the police got there so quick, and that's rare for St. Louis. So the
Ooh.
police get there pretty quick and they're talking to me like, hey, what happened or whatever. And I'm telling them, and I asked his friend, I said, what's the guy name that got in the car? And he said,
Mhm.
I don't know. I realized then, shut up. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like,
Mm.
let it go. You know what I mean? I forgot where I was at. So at that point I walked off and the police grabbed me. He like, you okay? I'm like, what you mean? Yeah. And he was like, are you okay? He starts
Mhm.
counting bullets in my back. Like he's like, I
In
had
your
a
back.
bullet, I had a bullet fragment hanging off of my hoodie. I had on a gray hoodie and some bottoms to match it. On that hoodie, a piece of string that piece of bullet was hanging on. But he started
Mm.
calling, and then he said, we need 2 ambulances because we're going to have her checked out. So they load him first. He was bad off. They load him first. They take me to the end of this ambulance, cut all my clothes off. All these people out here cut all my clothes off. They checking me out or whatever. They get me to the hospital. And
Mhm.
when it's something like that, they automatically assume drugs, guns, stuff like that. So they're
Yeah.
literally fingers up my butt looking for
Wow.
drugs type. And
In during that time.
yeah, so they do a full workup of me, like a CAT scan to see where all of these bullets. So I got hit 10 times in my back,
Are you serious?
twice in my hand. In the back of my head, I was grazed. Like the bullet didn't enter. I was grazed in the back of the head. So they take me through, all of the saying what's wrong with me, but nobody ever checked my hand. And I kept going, my hand is killing me. And they kept giving me pain meds. And the pain meds weren't working. Like they were giving
Yeah.
me oxycodone, all of those, morphine, all of that. But then they gave me Dilaudid. And Dilaudid had me itching. Like it sent me into like almost an allergic reaction. They gave me
Mhm.
Benadryl to offset that. And that was the only time that I was able to calm down from it. But the police come in the door, and this is where it gets hard for me. The police come in the door and they say, hey, we need you to tell us what happened, why it's
Yeah.
still fresh on your mind. And I'm like, man, I'm messed up right now. And they said, you're our only voice. That told me that he had passed. And I'm like,
Oh,
this is how you break that kind of news to me. So I
oh
shut down.
no.
Now I don't want to talk. So I agreed to go talk to them, once I'm better, once I'm out of the
Yeah.
hospital and better. Went through all of that. I get out the hospital and I had to go through therapy for my hand. Like
Physical
it
therapy?
was really, yeah.
Occupational.
And I'm
Okay.
left-handed and it was my left hand. So
Wow.
really took a hit. And so I had to kind of learn how to write everything over again or whatever. So
Wow.
I go to one of those appointments. They meet me at the appointment and pick me
Mm.
up. Like,
Mm.
took me down there and, was asking, but at this point, I realized in St. Louis, you don't tell. You know what I mean? So I kind of let it go, but I had to also accept the fact that that was the life he lived. And if that's what happened to you and God allowed it to happen, that was just what was meant to happen. It was hard, but it's like I had to accept that whatever he did, you know what I mean? And if they were wrong, then they got to answer for that. But I couldn't dwell on the fact that there was a reason for both sides to do whatever they did.
Yeah.
Nobody's ever been, as far as I know, caught for that and it's not something that I'm stressing on. That was never the
Yes.
issue for me because I knew it wasn't
Yes.
meant for me. So
You're
that was never the issue for me. That's not what caused my depression or any of that.
yeah.
But in me
But you
going
lost somebody that you love. So of
yeah,
course that
and
part of
that's
it.
the hardest part. Like, what
Yeah.
was the hardest part? Like, because I wasn't able to go to his funeral because
Yes.
fear of retaliation or them showing up.
Yeah.
So I never got that closure. But
Yeah. Oh, you didn't go.
I
Oh my
couldn't go. They wouldn't let me go. So
no.
my son didn't get to go. But like I said, he was one. He wouldn't have understood. But what
Wow.
triggered like the downhill for me was knowing I gotta raise this boy without his
By
dad.
yourself.
6 months later, I lost my dad.
Whoa.
It's like I never got a chance to grieve, to
Yeah.
even process what happened to me because life just began to rapidly happen after that. Like, I'm sorry, I shouldn't snap. I'm sorry.
No,
But
no,
life
no, you're
just began
fine.
to rapidly
Express
happen.
yeah. Express yourself however you wanna express yourself. That's fine.
Okay. So I dealt with that. I lost everything because I couldn't work. So I was, like I said, I was working. They fired me because I wasn't ready to come back to work after 2 weeks. I needed to
Mm.
heal, but it was okay. It set in motion some good things, but not my mental health. You know what I mean? It
Yeah.
didn't help me mentally because I lost my apartment. I chose to leave. I was scared. I
Yes.
chose to leave.
Yes. Yes.
I moved back in with my parents. I was pregnant with my baby boy. We
So
ended up
you have 2 kids
I
friend.
have I have I have a total of 3.
Okay,
So I
but
got a
2
daughter
more
that's 30.
okay.
So, yeah. What triggered my like, the depression, like I said, I never got to heal.
Yes.
I tried to get therapy, but you know how you go in for help, mental health, and they automatically assume that you're, like, off. So they made me feel like they had me in a padded room, like,
Mhm.
and I'm just like, I don't feel like I need all of this. Like something traumatic happened to me and I'm having a reaction from that. I don't have any, like, I've never been diagnosed with bipolar,
Yeah.
any of that. And but that's how they treat you. And then they want to
Yeah.
treat you with meds. I don't think meds can help when it's
Mm.
trauma. Like, how can meds help with trauma? So it's like I was taking it, but it was making things worse for me. And
Mm.
after I had my son, they had me on like Seroquel, and that I was sleepwalking, like snacking in my sleep. It's like it just kind of set off a downward spiral for me as far as my health. And then, like I said, other things continue to happen. Like,
Yeah.
so it's just like it's been a roller coaster of trauma after trauma after trauma after trauma. And it's like now I'm finally healing, and it's like I want to share.
And you look good going through
Thank you.
your healing. And you mentioned to me your fiance. So you also have someone in your corner that's supporting you,
I
that
love
loves
him,
you. My God. We all need that. We all need someone who's going to see us and understand
man.
that we are going through whatever we're going through. We're trying to heal and support us, even
He's
if
the
they
one
can't.
that saw it, though. He's the one that started calling things out. Like, I was
Mhm.
around have you ever been in a group of people where you're there and all of these people are around you, but you still don't feel a part of, like, you're conversating with them? It was like I was
Yeah.
existing, but I wasn't
Mm.
present. So I'm
Wow.
around my family and I'm existed, I'm not present. So I would do things like cracking jokes all the time just to keep people from asking me how
But
I
I
was
could see
feeling
the
or what I was doing.
distance.
And he started doing that, and that it did something to me. Like he actually cared. Like, and then
Mm.
he started to kind of like tell me things that like I had become, I don't want to say bitter, but negative in a sense of I viewed things from a negative point before I could see the positive.
Yeah.
So he started to point that out. And of course, I denied it. I'm not negative. I've never heard that before
Yeah.
until God started to reveal me to me. And in
Yeah.
a moment of him trying to do something nice for me, like we're sitting in this in the bed eating and he's holding
Yeah.
the plate, right? And he shifted and then he moved the plate back towards me. And I'm like, damn, now you want me to hold it? And he
Yeah.
looked at me like, what? He said, I didn't want you to have to stretch your arm all the way up. And see,
Mm.
I saw, and in that moment, it was like a aha moment, like, oh my God, this is what he's talking about. I saw the negative, and so it made me pay attention to
Yeah.
how I react to people. And he was right. So it's almost like I learned with him that sometimes you got to take what people say and really look into your life and see why would he say that? Because everybody's not lying. And when I say everybody, I mean I've heard it from other people but didn't realize that I did it. Like I've been
Yeah.
able to say, oh, they negative, but I couldn't see it in me until he called it out of me.
Yes.
So it's like I started
Definitely.
to really see myself, if whether it was in my like own actions or if I could see it through like every friend I had at the time, like I was clinging on to
Yeah.
because like I'm saying, like once I started my healing process, I started to like cling on to my friends because I'm like, I want to share this with you.
Yeah.
But in the process of me doing that, each one of them, I saw something in them that let me
Mm.
know that I was off. Like, cause I'm like, she do that, I do that. That is bad. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, it started a chain reaction of me, like really starting to look at myself and the company. It's like I was friends with them because we bonded either on some type of trauma
Sure.
level or because you know how they say familiar spirits. The spirit that they had, whether it was good or bad, it was familiar to me, and I was clinging to
Yes.
that. And he like, "Mom, you gotta take a
Ooh,
step back."
preach.
Like, oh, this man, I'm telling you the truth. Like, he be on it, and it's nothing that he has told me has come back to me wrong. Nothing.
Yeah.
And I gave this man the blues in the beginning, but I'm like, no, I don't do that. I can't. Like,
That's
no. And he don't argue.
right.
He's not going to argue. He's going to say it, and he gonna move on. We can't go back to it enough. You'll figure it out.
I love
And
that.
it's like I've had to go back to him so many times and be like, "I'm sorry. You were right."
Yeah.
You know, and it's like I thank God for him because he seriously puts in the work to help me and he's so
Mm.
patient with me because when I get frustrated, you know how when you get frustrated and you're upset, you lash out at the person closest to you. He's the
Yes.
closest thing to me. And
Yes.
he was getting all of that. He like, "Wait a minute." He said, "Baby, I ain't do it. Wait a minute." Wait. And it made me realize you got the so we give all that grief to the person closest to us and the person that's causing the havoc in our lives. We letting them off scot-free. No, I'll start giving it to them or cutting them
Facts.
off. I'm not gonna match energy. None
Yes.
of that. So it triggered for me to really start paying attention to who I surround myself with.
I love
Like,
that.
man, I'm telling you, the man helped me heal. He is helping me heal. Like, cause I come to
And
him with
that's
every day with something like, what about this? Oh, and
and that's
he has
good.
a cousin too.
You feel secure enough to
Yeah.
go to this person and share your deepest thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what every one of us deserve. And you mentioned checking the people in your circle,
Mm-hmm.
looking around and seeing who you have and seeing what value or purpose they serve. Because if they're just there because, as you mentioned, familiar spirit or trauma bonding, and they're not elevating your life, why are they there?
So what happened was I got a ton of friends that I'm an empath. I am a severe empath. And sometimes that's a curse because I tend to help people that really don't deserve it or they know how I am. Like my friends call me, they don't have to ask. If they say, hey, girl, I need $10 to get this, I'm cash apping.
Mm,
Like my cash app is ridiculous for that, for helping. And he
when
was
is your birthday?
October 3rd. I'm a
Okay.
Scorpio, and he's a Gemini, and so is my two sons. His son is a Gemini, and like it's just crazy. It's like the energy, they all are the same. They all have been
Mm,
instrumental in helping me heal, all of them.
that's
But
good.
my sons have had to call me out on things. I've
And
had to
that's what you need.
apologize to my kids. I felt like I wasn't present. Now, of course, they're saying, "No, mom, we don't feel like you wasn't present." But I know I wasn't present. See, I was able to live among them and not be
Yeah,
present. And they never, like, I still behaved as their mother. I still made sure they had everything they needed. So it's like you're
yeah.
able to function. It's like the strong friend. Nobody checks on us, and it's okay.
You're dropping all these
It's
gems,
okay because
man.
we gonna say we good, we don't need it. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's just how we are. But he wasn't hearing it. He knew I needed help, and he was able to like he put in the work to help, and he
That's
continues to.
good.
Like he don't get like some days I'll be frustrated. And I know I be mean, and he never gives that energy back. He still treats me like his princess, and it instantly straightens me up.
Oh,
Like you know what? Get your stuff together.
God.
Yeah, but I after I met him, I realized that
When
I
did you meet him?
so
At what
so in my healing journey, after the shooting, after I had the baby boy, I moved into this house that's in a area here called Spanish Lake. And
Mhm.
in that we were in that house for 5 years, right? Dylan
Okay,
was 5 at the time. That's my baby boy.
okay.
We're in the house and I heard pop, pop, pop. And I'm like, what's that? And my son goes running. And I said, no, hit the floor. I realized it's shooting. So
Uh,
somebody's shooting and it's hitting the house. And I'm going, it's just me and these kids. So who you shooting at? So when the
right.
police come, they check out the house. They said they hit the house to my left and the house to my right and mine. But mine had the most bullets. So they said my house was the target.
Mhm.
Okay. I go to my mom's that night. I leave the house and take the kids with me, but I leave the car in the driveway. The next day, I told my mom I got to go back and get clothes because we walked out the house with our pajamas on. We had
Mhm.
nothing. And so when we go back the next morning, the street is full of police. And I'm like, dang, they back. These guys came back, got out the car,
Mhm.
walked the perimeter of the house, and shot the house up. And the police, when I
What?
get down there, he said, we tried to call you. I was like, well, what number did you call? They had the wrong number. But what they found out, that my house and the house to the left was identical. They hit the
Mm,
wrong house. Not once,
okay.
but twice.
Wow.
And we lost
Wow.
everything, like everything in the house, we lost. Our clothes, like it was bullets through clothes. Like I got a couple of hoodies that I had to keep.
What?
I had a couple of hoodies that I had to keep because they were special to me. They were like my nephew fought cancer around this same time. The hoodie had a hole in it, but I had to keep it. So it's like
Yeah.
the TVs were shot up. Like we literally left
What?
there with nothing. But thank God the insurance company covered it. But we were
Okay.
homeless for 4 months. We stayed in a hotel.
Okay.
Then we moved into our apartment like 4 months after that. Then my son got hit by a car getting off the school bus.
Oh my
He was
goodness,
getting off the
Rose.
school bus and the car hit him and kept going. That's another story for another day, though. That's a long one.
Yeah,
But
wow.
yeah, it's just like being trauma after trauma. Then I lost my favorite brother not too long. Well, no,
Yeah.
it was about 3, 4 years after that. Lost my
Okay.
brother, lost another brother 5 months later. So
Wow.
it's been a roller. So you imagine I've never healed. I've never
Yeah,
had time to grieve.
yes.
I have not had a moment to grieve. So when he came into the picture and he started helping me, it was like I started feeling I didn't realize that when you carry the weight of whatever you've been through,
It sure.
tightens your chest. It's everything was tight. And I didn't realize that's why I felt like that until I started to release it. And he
Yeah.
took me to the it's a lake here he took me to, and the sun was beaming that day. It's a video on my page of this sun. The background you can hear him talking on it. But that was the day that I really, really got my healing and I realized what I was missing all this time. Like I didn't
Mm,
feel seen. I didn't
I
feel
love
seen, and he's
that.
the only person that ever came into my life that made me feel
Mm,
seen. You know what I'm saying?
come
Like,
on.
I don't worry about him cheating. I don't worry about because I'm good to people. My heart is
Yeah,
pure, and
yes,
anybody tell you anything different, they wronged me because my
yeah,
heart has always been pure. So,
yeah.
but he saw me. He saw me and everything that I needed, he poured into me
Mhm.
unselfishly because he has his own trauma, but he
Yes.
dealt with it. You know what I mean? But he
Uh,
had things going on, like in the midst of his grandmother passing, he still made sure I was good.
mm,
So for him to curse so unselfishly, it helps. It
yeah,
helps. So, like, I just want people to understand that you can heal from these things. You just got to put in the See, I didn't even know where to begin to get the help. But when God started revealing me to me, I was like, oh,
yeah.
this is what you need. So
So,
it triggered a lot of things.
so what role, as you mentioned, God, what role has faith played in your healing process?
Oh, you sure you want to go down that rabbit hole? Listen, we had a discussion about that today with another person I was talking to, and she was like, you gotta you gotta pray and you can't get to God unless you go through Jesus. I grew up in
Mm-hmm.
the church, right? Well, I started out in Catholic school when I was
Mm-hmm.
kindergarten to second grade. So we went to Catholic church down the street from our house for years. When I was like 11, 12, my sister started taking me to a Baptist church. And I fell in love with the choir because I think I'm Beyonce, right?
I love that. So you
Can't
can
sing a
sing.
lick, but I'm
Okay.
Beyonce, okay? So I'm in all these choirs, right? I'm loving church. I'm thinking it's giving me everything I need, right? Church is
Yes.
giving me everything I need. I think, right?
Yeah.
So it's been a blessing, right? And I'm looking up to all of these people, and I'm just believing everything. But then things started to. I started. You know how you start seeing people for who they really are, or you like. I've never been a person that tried to hide what I do. So when we were all old enough to go out to the club and stuff, when I went to the club, I ain't go to church and act like I wasn't at the club drinking. Like
Yeah,
I didn't
yeah.
do that, but the people that I hung with did, and I'm just like we gonna
Oh,
be fake. I don't know how to do that. You know what I
yes.
mean? So I'm like, no, we had a good time. Like we grown. I ain't know we couldn't have fun. We
Yeah.
wasn't drunk. Like it's. I guess I missed that we wasn't supposed to tell.
Yeah.
So I started to see them differently. Like, you pretending, you faking. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Because
yeah.
one thing I won't do, I'm not going to play with God on the strength of, I can hide it from you. God
Mhm.
still saw me at the club last night. So I'm hiding it from
Yeah.
you for what? Because you don't have a heaven or a hell to put me in, right? So I just didn't see the point in lying about where I was at. So that kind of started a trigger for me to like kind of pull away. But then
Mhm.
I started seeing how everybody was messing around. Like I started to see people like, how y'all in here doing all this praising and preaching and talking to people about God, but y'all not living the life that you talking about. And that bothered me because I didn't want to be that person. I'd rather pull myself out of that than I
Mhm.
didn't want to be that person. So I think that kind of added to my depression because now I feel like something's missing from my life because I done took church out of it. But
Yeah.
what kept me in that time was me listening to gospel music. The
Yeah.
gospel music didn't change for me. You know what I'm saying? That
So that
still kept me,
stayed.
but I was
Okay.
looking at church differently as a whole. So when I met my fiance, he started talking to me about church and
Mhm.
the most high and being spiritual and grounding
Wow.
and it's
I
like,
love that man and I don't know him.
man, look. So my brother that passed first, my favorite that passed first, he had already started talking to me and my mom about grounding, about the Most High, about Jesus. He had already kind of started the process. So what
Mm,
Sean did was come in, and I feel like that's why my brother let go when he did, because he knew somebody was there that would look after me. Sean looks after my mom. Sean looks
mm,
after my grandkids. He looks after my daughter. You know what I mean? So I think my brother knew it's somebody, because every other man that my brother met,
you
he
know,
said that nigga ain't shit. That
uh,
he would tell them that he
yeah,
did not like him. Sean was the only person he met that he shook his hand and he had nothing bad to say about.
yeah.
He was the only
Sean
one.
is basically your anchor, and your
Man,
brother knew that.
yeah.
But you are clearly here based on everything that you've been through to have a purpose,
I know
right?
I can't figure out what it is
You
though.
can't figure out what it is. I know that it's coming because you have been through way too much
Yeah,
for God to not have a role waiting for you.
right.
And it's for you to really sit down, maybe take a day and really talk to him, tell him exactly how
Yeah.
you're feeling, and ask him directly, what is my assignment?
Mm-hmm.
What do you want me to do? And you know what I think? Maybe he's already answering you. You are taking the first step right now, telling your story. Who knows what doors this is going to open up for you?
Right.
And for me, I have been questioning my assignment for so long. I've had this idea for so long, and I kept saying, why me? Who am
Mm.
I? Who am I to speak to women about what they're going
Because
through?
you make us feel comfortable. That's why. You made me feel when I called you or text you that night, and I was like, I don't want to do it. I'm nervous. Like, because when you share things on the internet, it makes you
Mhm.
vulnerable to what people negative
Yes,
people have to say. But I had to
yes,
pray about that thing, because this the thing. If you got something negative to say about a story of survival, then you got the problem, not me. And it's like I've already decided that anything negative I'm not addressing, because I've been
yes,
through enough hurt, drama, I've been through enough of that. I won't even address it. Like, I can't
yes.
even let that phase me. I am too happy in my life right now to let
Right.
anybody come and steal this joy. You hear me?
And I've come to the understanding that we have several different type of people, but we have two main type. There are the ones who are always going to be negative
Hmm.
because their life is bitter, and then there are the ones who will see it for what it is and send you encouragement, commend you for telling your story. And I have had to question myself about that, because when I started writing that book, I said, Lord, I'm strong. I am the strong one. Like, nobody sees my vulnerability. Why are you telling me to write this book? Why are you telling me to put my story out there like that? And he said to me, you are chosen. You
Mm.
are selected to do this. And you don't need to worry about the naysayers. You don't need to
Man,
worry about the negative Betsy. They are going to talk anyways. People are going to say good and they're going to say bad. It's how you process it. And I'm telling you now, do not let anything negative that anybody has to say about your story, the life that you've lived, the journey that you've been on, and where you are now, healing affects you.
all right.
Don't allow it to, because they're going to talk
Man,
regardless.
I already know. They was doing it anyway. Like, people had things to say because I wasn't talking. Like,
See?
after the shooting, and when I kind of tried to get back into the church, when I would go and people would hear, like, it's always somebody that'll either be with me that may tell somebody my story, and they're all like, oh, you need to give your testimony. God didn't lead me to do it that way. Like, I was
Yeah,
never comfortable. I've never went in the church and told this story because I wasn't
yes,
led to.
yes.
It wasn't the place.
You're
Like, I've
just
only told this story to people that I felt led
close
to
to
for whatever reason. So I know it's something with me helping people either to keep females from living that life, going into something like that, like pay attention to the signs. Like, if I had
you.
a
Yeah,
paid attention to the signs, I would have known he was that far gone way
yeah.
before, and I probably wouldn't have been around him. You know what I mean?
So, what advice would you give to a woman who is in a relationship, probably in love with her person, but also realize that this man is going down the wrong path?
This a good question, because when you say in love with, For years, I've dated people and thought I was in love. We
Mm.
don't know what love is. A lot of women don't know what love is because this
Mm.
man has shown me what love is.
Oh,
So
so you never really felt it wasn't love before?
I thought it was. I was in love. They wasn't. You know what I'm saying? And we as women got to start. We think we can heal men,
Yeah.
but if he doesn't want to be healed, see, I wanted to be healed. So Sean was able to help me heal. Now imagine if I wasn't ready to receive what he was giving, I'd have pushed him away because at one point he was like, "Hey," he was like, "I could
Preach.
leave." He was like, "We don't got to do this."
Listen.
That
It's
broke me
almost
up.
like
I'm
you're
like,
reading
"Wait a
out my
minute."
it's almost like you're reading out my book right now. Did you see a copy of my book?
So the girl that led me to even start being right with him, she got a page on her. And her page is all about how she learned how to be a wife, how she learned how to love her husband. And I was taking notes out her book. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I'm gonna do that. And it built our relationship. Like just me learning how to calm down. See, because my brain doesn't stop thinking. Imagine years of trauma. So let me go back to the shooting real quick.
Mhm.
That caused me, I didn't leave the house for like anything other than my doctor's appointments. I was
Yeah.
afraid because
Yeah.
these guys are still out there. I don't know who's who. I don't know what's what. So I only
Mhm.
went to doctor's appointment and only my mom could drive me. My mom or my favorite brother or my
Only
dad.
trusted
Only
people.
people that could drive me because when we were sitting in that car, we were blocked in. Like even if I tried to pull off, I couldn't.
Mm.
And I found out later that if I had tried to pull off, the guy that was driving the car was at the end of the block waiting on me. They thought I'd do that. So they were already so it was I was in a no-win situation with that.
Yeah.
So s- like I was afraid to leave the house after this. Like
Yes. Yeah.
cuz I didn't know what was what. So I trained myself. This is how I started leaving the house. It took me years, but this is how I would leave the house. First of all,
Look out.
I used to have to medicate to leave the house. Meaning like I said, they had me on psych meds. So
Wow.
I had to be in a mind frame of I didn't care. You know how people do drugs to
Yeah.
cope, and that's what I felt like I was doing. And
Yeah.
so I would leave the house, but I trained myself, and this is what trauma does to people. I trained myself
Mhm.
like where me and Sean could be out, and he could be like, "Oh, look at that." My brain, not I could hear the noise, know where it came from. My eyes are going to scan left to right because that's how I've been protecting
Mm.
myself. When I get to the door before I step out, I'm scanning left to right to see if where the threat is. My brain is always thinking, "Where's the threat?" When I go into anybody's business, restaurants or whatever, I'm looking for the exit. I'm looking for all the exits. So if
Wow.
anything pops up, so my brain is always in survival mode when we out. So people would be
Yeah.
talking to me and I was listening, but not listening. See, I
Yeah.
learned to listen for
Ouch.
keywords. If you like, say you talking to me and I'm listening, but then you say like, yeah, and then she shot her. Now you got my now
Mhm.
I gotta go. What you say? Now I gotta have you repeat it. And see, I was missing so much with people. People be like, I told you that. And I'll be like, no, I don't remember. Because I wasn't listening. He taught me that too. He said, you don't listen. He said, you listen to respond.
Because you are protecting yourself.
But when you're having a conversation with somebody, the very least you could do is listen. And I start paying attention to how when I talk to him, if I climb in the bed and he already in there and he on his phone, and I start talking to him, he will put his phone down and give me his full attention.
Mm.
So now I'm like, Lord, make me like him. Lord, model me after him. I want to give him the same, everything that he's given me, I want to give him. But I had given this to so many people before,
That it was
and
hard.
then they hurt me. So everything that he did that felt like something that somebody else did,
Oh,
I was
man.
shutting down. And he like, wait a minute, I ain't do it.
So
Like,
you were self-sabotaging.
yes,
You
lot
were
of us
blocking your
do it.
own blessing.
A lot of
Wow.
us do it. Oh, but let me go back to how we met. I went back to how I survive when I go out to
Yeah.
explain this. So my sons played football and we had a football mom group and we hung out with the coaches every Friday at this club called the Lions Den. We would go hang out at the Lions Den, have a good time drinking or whatever. I felt comfortable there because I knew everybody there and it was familiar to me. So I was comfortable
Mhm.
there. So when that ended and the girl that was the bartender there that we used to hang out with, she shifted to another club here. I start going there. So
Yeah.
I'm in there literally
Mhm.
every day
Yeah.
for like 2, 3 years. I'm talking about Monday through Friday, or I mean
Yeah.
Monday to Sunday. I'm in this place.
Wow.
I'm talking about I can walk in there right now and you'll think I was a celeb. They know me in this place. You know what I mean? Like they gonna dap me up, they gonna hug, they gonna love on me, right? All of this. it became my cheers, right? So I'm hanging out in here and I'm meeting all kinds of people. I'm meeting
Yeah.
guys. And it's like I
Yeah.
would take their number and they would text and I wouldn't respond because I wasn't there for that. I went because I just think it had become my escape, right? And
Mm.
so one night Sean's in there and I'm walking by and he tapped me on my shoulder. Now, mind you, when I turn around, he's turning around. So he said, I never saw your face. He said, something told me, hey, tap her. He said, he looked to the side, saw me walking by, something told him, tap me on my shoulder. He never saw my face. I turn
Mm.
around, I'm right in his face. I don't get in nobody's face in the club. See, that's part of my defense too. I can look you in your
You don't wanna
eyes
see the
and not look you in your eyes. I'll be looking at your eyebrows. See, I learned how to exist, right?
Yeah.
But I'm in his face. And we exchanged numbers or whatever. We text that night. He like, you made it home. I'm like, yeah. The next day, I'm like, I don't remember who he is for real. So he sends me pictures. I don't like the pictures, right? All my life, I love dark skinned men. That was my
Yeah.
thing, right? All my life. And I think it was more so because I felt like light skinned men were arrogant,
Yeah.
conceited, right? I
Yeah.
gave them this title, right? So I never, they were never anything that I was attracted to. So I'm like, I don't really like them. You know what I'm saying? Because let me explain why. The guys that shot us, every last one of them had dreadlocks. All three of those
Mhm.
guys had dreadlocks, right? So when Sean comes in with these locks, I'm like, hell no. But he talking to me, I'm responding, we text. Now this all over text. We text for about 2 weeks, right? But my texts were like here and there, like I wasn't responding right away, but I always keep my ringer off. So I don't, it's not like he was texting me and I was getting it and I just wasn't answering. I just
Yeah.
literally was missing him. And he texted me like, hey, if you don't want to be bothered, you could just say that. And I'm like, wait a minute, because I ain't never had that, ain't
And
nobody ever said that.
no.
So I text him back. I'm like, okay, no, it's cool. I'm sorry I was doing XYZ. So we start talking. And mind you, like I said, it's just over text. And
Yeah.
then one day out the blue, my boys used to go to school from my mom's address. So I was over there sitting, waiting on them to get off the bus. And he called. And he just wanted to talk. And he was talking about, some things that he had going on. And then he said, yeah, I got to drop my son off on my way to work. I said, your son? He said, yeah. He said, I have my son every day. You a
Mm.
man that had your son every day? He said, yeah. He said,
Mm.
I got custody of my special needs daughter. Oh, you
What?
a man. Wait a
Yeah.
minute. Now he got my full attention, right? I love a man to take care of his kids. If you don't take care of your
Yes.
kids, I can't do nothing for you. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So that's what piqued my interest. Now we in full blown conversation every day. I'm talking about literally from the time I woke up to the time this man got off work at 11 at night. We were on the phone or texting. And
Mm.
I would literally be on the phone with him. He go to work from 4 to 11, on the phone with him the whole time. Or I was over there. I would go over there. Now, mind you, he said, we're not in a relationship. He made it clear. We just dating. He made us date for like almost a year and a half before he made
Woah.
it official. But that's what I needed. See, I was so
Yeah.
used to jumping into relationships, trying to love on
Yes.
men that wasn't ready for that type of love. Because see, I love for real.
Yeah.
I love hard and anybody knows it. And I don't mean in like sexual relationships. I mean in every
You
aspect of
give
my life with my
everything.
friends. I love my friend. I love people for
Yeah.
real. So he made me take that time to actually get to know him. It was no kissing, none of like we would hug when we see each other, but it
Yeah.
like he made me get to know him. And
That's
we
so
still
good.
went out and we had fun and all of that. And then finally I got him.
She got him, y'all.
But yeah, he taught me a lot. Like
Okay.
he was there when my brother was passing, like when we had to take him off life support, he was there.
Okay.
And he called me
Okay.
one day, he was at work, and this was like after he passed, but before the funeral. And he was like, you okay? And I was like, yeah, you know how I said I will lie and be like, yeah, I'm good.
Mhm.
And whatever it was, he heard it in my voice. Now he's always had a key to my house, right? I'm in the bed and it's like after the time he get off work, I heard the door. So I know
Mm.
it's him because nobody else has a key or would be coming that
Yeah.
late. So he come in and he was like, I had to lay my eyes on you because you just didn't sound right. Now imagine somebody that love
Mm.
you enough that they can hear it in your voice that you
Mm.
know, oh, bro, that broke me. Somebody that care about me.
Yes.
Nobody else cared. Nobody else was checking for me in that time.
Yeah.
So, like, that drew me in with him. It's just like he loves on me from a different place. Like, his heart is pure. And it's
Yeah.
like I be telling people that, like, when I post about him and people will inbox, "How you always talking about that man? But if you knew what he's done for me, you'll understand." You know what I
That's
mean? Like, he legit cares about how I feel. Like, we could be in the bed sleeping. I cough. He be like, "You all right? You good? You need something?" You know what I
yeah.
mean? Like, anything I need, he's right there. Like, I don't
Yeah.
worry about nothing with him. I ain't worried about him cheating. I ain't worried about him hitting me. Like, the
Yes.
relationship before him, I was dealing with a guy that was putting his hands on me.
Oh,
So I had black
I see.
eyes, had bruises on my
Wow.
arms. Yeah, like, so I had sent Sean these pictures and
Yeah.
it pissed him off.
Yeah.
And he said that's really like what drew me into like trying to be there for you. He said, I saw how you was there for other people and
Mm.
they mistreated you, they mishandled you. But he handles me like a king. I feel like a
Yeah.
queen when I'm with that man. I don't feel like anybody else exists in the room when I'm in that room. That man gives me his full attention.
That's so
And
good.
nobody has ever done that. So yeah, that's why I cling
Yeah.
to him,
Yeah.
but
I love that. And he's soon to be your husband. So that's
yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, we planning a wedding.
Yeah. They're planning a wedding, guys.
You
Oh
gonna
my
have to
God.
come.
So you have been through a lot. You mentioned
Mhm.
being shot 13 times. I cannot imagine that at all. You mentioned your son being hit by while getting off the school bus,
Mhm.
your dad passing, your two brothers passing, and being abused. It's so much. So I can understand why you would need certain coping mechanism and drink and do certain
Oh, with the
pills.
drinking, so when Sean came into the picture, he said, like, "What are you trying to prove going to the club every night? Or you trying to
Mm,
relive?" Because see, I didn't get to go to the club in my 20s. I had kids.
yes.
So I didn't get to go. And when I started going, it wasn't because I felt like I missed out on anything. Like I said, it was to take my mind off of everything that I had been going through.
Yeah.
And so he was like, but when you drinking, he was like, you're not yourself. He challenged me to go into this same bar sober. He said, get a water and act like you drinking and pay attention to everybody else. And baby, the things I saw in there that I know I had been doing, I was like, ooh. Like,
Ooh.
okay, so we
So you
stopped
ended up
drinking, we
stopping.
cut off liquor completely, like hard liquor, we drink
Sean was
wine.
your is your savior.
We drink wine and listen, my body felt different.
Yeah.
Like just even everything changed for me, like with me stopping the liquor, with
Yeah.
me actually caring about
Yeah.
healing. You know what I mean? So he like literally came in and changed everything. Like I feel
Yeah.
like he saved me. I tell him that all the
No,
time. You saved me.
it sounds like that. So what does you mentioned that you're going through your healing journey. What does that currently look like? Like give me a quick breakdown as to what you're
So
doing.
look, uh, you have good days, you have bad days. Like,
Yes.
remember I told you, just even thinking about telling this story, it
Yeah.
sent my anxiety into a whirlwind, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, "Oh, I don't want to do this." Like, remember, I got so scared. I thought I was gonna be boohooing, but I had to pep talk myself because it's
Mm,
like I do not want to keep crying over the past. I want to let it go. And I'm like, if I speak it out loud,
mhm.
I could let it go. I don't have to pick that up anymore. And everybody knows nobody needs to ask me anything. I can
Yeah.
let that thing go and live in my happiness. I just want to be happy at this point. I
Yeah.
spent 17 years being depressed,
Yes. Yeah.
not living life, feeling like I didn't belong, wondering. Like I talked to my niece and I was like, I feel like I wasn't there for y'all. Like I had them when they were younger, but in their
Mm,
adult life or the late teenage years, I feel like I wasn't there for them. So I'm talking to her yesterday and I'm like, Lexi, I'm sorry. I feel like I wasn't there for you. And she was like, what? So
mm,
it's like you never realize what people feel about you. And that's why I believe in now giving people their flowers. So when somebody's good to me, hey, thank you for that. I needed that. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Because I had no clue that my nieces and nephews felt like I was good to
You
them
were
like that.
there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what do you want women to take away who are listening this to take away from your story?
Oh, so the main thing, take the time to heal. Like
Mm,
ask God to reveal you to you. I'm telling you, you'll be surprised what you see, but also ask him to show you how to get out of anything that you don't like. Lord, how do I change this behavior? How do I
Yeah.
fix this? Because see, we get into these relationships with these men and we're still broken. We not healed. We haven't healed from I hadn't healed from any of those relationships before. I took all that time thinking I was healing. See, I think taking time is healing. No, you have to put in the work and heal. Like I'm
Yeah.
thinking when I would get out of a relationship, I would be like, okay, where did I go wrong? What did I do wrong? How did I contribute? Because it's two people in a relationship. We both contribute to the demise of,
Yes.
so I
But
want to
women
take
don't take
accountability, right?
accountability a lot. Yes.
So I'm like, Lord, what did I do wrong? So I'm thinking in doing that, I'm thinking that I healed. No, because the trigger of whatever they did to you is still there. So you got to address the triggers. Whatever triggered you to be hurt by them, to hate them, whatever triggered you, you have to address those triggers or they'll keep popping up. Because see, Sean would do certain stuff and I'll be like, that's familiar. They
Mm,
did that. But just because they did that don't mean him doing that is the same thing. Like
right.
I was giving this man the blues.
Grief.
And the one day that I feel like he was at his breaking point, I saw the hurt in his eyes, and I was like, you know what? Get your shit together.
Yeah.
Get it together because he don't deserve that. Like he came in and he started to heal a heart
Ooh.
that he didn't break. And I
Yes.
feel like I owe him all that bragging I do on him and all that loving I do on him. He deserved that. He gives that back. So y'all seeing it from me, but the same love that I show for him on Facebook, he does that for me in real life. And I kept giving him the blues about saying it to me. I was like, I need to hear it. Tell me how you feel
Yeah.
about me. He said, you don't see it in my actions. I said, yeah, but sometimes I need to hear it. He said, but didn't them other niggas say it to you? I said, yeah. He said, but was it in their actions? Oh, baby. Like, damn, you want something that you don't need. You don't need. He's showing you. He's
Yeah.
showing you how he feels about you.
Yeah.
So it's like I was begging for things from him that I didn't need. Like everything that I wanted, everything that I had prayed for with the other guys, Sean was
Yeah.
doing it and I was missing it because he wasn't verbally saying it, but he was doing it. Was crazy. It's like we don't realize how messed up we've been ahead as women.
I can agree to that. I remember when I just got my divorce and I was getting to know men. In my mind, I was doing the right thing, but it wasn't until I went through therapy and just randomly one day I was going through some of my text messages from back that time.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, why were you so angry?
Right. It's like you realize, like, listen, I could pop off in a heartbeat.
Yes. So a lot of us that we see that are just angry and that are so easily ticked off and get so, it's because you're dealing with trauma. And as soon as you're triggered, you go into survival protection mode. And the only thing you know at that point is to run, to just flee the situation
Mm-hmm.
or to fight.
It's fight or flee, and my answer
Yeah.
was flee. Cause see, I live in St. Louis, where you can hear gunshots at any
Every,
moment. Like I'm talking about, like you don't have a clue how serious it. Like it's bad here. So
really?
I would hear gunshots, and I would take off running, and
Wow.
everybody else because they used to it is looking at me like, where's she going? I'm talking
Wow.
about what like
Wow.
like 4th of July. I can't stand fireworks.
Wow.
So this 4th of July, Sean took me to the hotel and then out the window we could see the fireworks. That was
Yeah.
enough for me. I don't want to hear 'em. Seeing them is
Yes.
enough.
Wow.
Nothing. I don't want to hear
Yes.
loud noises.
So trauma definitely affects us and it's important to get healing. I know firsthand I've been in therapy for the last 3-4 years
That's
now.
important.
It is
Therapy is
important.
important.
Yes, it allows you to hear yourself. It allows you to share what you're going through and be able to catch some of the things that you never really know that you are actually dealing with because you don't speak about it.
Hmm.
And I'm so happy that you are on your healing journey now
Thank
and
you.
you are at a better place where you can tell your story and laugh about it even if deep down you still know that you have a long way to go.
Yeah, I got quite a ways to go, but
Yeah,
I'm happy the direction that it's going.
it's going. That's
Yeah.
that's great. But we are almost at time.
Okay.
Is there anything else that you would like to add before we end?
Nope.
No? All right. We may need a second part, guys, because she she
I
she
got a
has
lot to
a,
share. I got
she
a
has a
lot. I,
lot
I
to
just want.
share.
I want to see. everybody win, not like just women. I want everybody because it's a lot of broken men. And I talked to quite a few men on Facebook lately that's kind of going through the same thing
Yeah.
with I didn't think men went through the relationship
They
stuff.
do.
Yeah, I didn't know that it's
They
women that act
silently
like
battle
men.
stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, because women will talk more than men will talk. And so
Mm-hmm.
men are dealing with a lot of silent
Oh
battles
yeah, yeah.
and they don't talk about it. I was talking to a guy last night and he said, I asked him, I said, what are some of the things that you need to work on? And he said it's communication
Mm-hmm.
because he be keeping stuff in. And when it gets frustrating,
Oh, that's when he be
you,
lashing out on people. And
yeah,
it could be something so small. Imagine holding in all of this trauma, this hurt, all of this pain, right? And it's just building up. And then your kids are wilding, right? And then
yeah,
you going to work and Becky says, damn, you look fat. Now you spazzing on Becky. Something that Becky probably has said to you 30 times. But now you
uh-huh,
spazzing on Becky because 15 other people have got you, amped in your spirit and you didn't address it. So I'm learning now. I don't hold
yeah.
nothing in. You getting this mouth. You heard me? You either gonna get this mouth or I'm gonna just quit talking to you. Like I show so much grace, right? With people.
We have to.
Not anymore. No, I can't anymore. Like I'll show grace to people that deserve it. But I mean, if I have to constantly keep telling you not to do certain
Yes,
things to me, or now I either gotta quit dealing with you or I'm gonna say something to you about
yes, we have to. All right. So before we end, I like to end with what we call rapid reflection.
it. Okay.
So it's going to be 5 quick questions where you could give me a one sentence or a one word
Okay.
to answer. All right. So the first one is one word that describes who you are right now.
I just gotta say heal. Like healing. Like that's all I'm on. I just want to heal.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I'm happy. Like I have not literally have not been able to say I'm happy. Like I wasn't even looking in the mirror.
What's something that brings you peace? Oh, listen, thank
That
you
is
so
my
much for
peace. When
saving
I
her.
lay in his chest, the
Yes.
world stops for me.
Yeah. Yeah. A reminder you whisper to yourself when things feel heavy.
You got this.
You got this. I love that. And the boundary you no longer cross for anyone because you're the nice one. So,
Yeah.
what's one boundary that you tell yourself, I'm not crossing anymore?
I had to stop allowing people to dump their issues on me because I pick it up and now I'm carrying it and they free. So I
Yeah.
don't allow people to invade my space. What you won't do is affect my peace. Now you can vent to me, but we're not gonna vent about the same thing every day. We gonna
Mm,
work on it. I'll work on it with you, but I just don't want to stay stuck because I did that for so long.
yeah. Right. And if you could title this episode, what's a chapter title that you would use for this season of your life?
Look, minor setback for a major comeback.
And your major comeback is coming. And it started with Sean. So
Yes.
I love that for you. And
Thank
I
you.
hope that all my listeners, whether you've been through heartbreak or you've lost someone or you've dealt with a situation that you're silently battling, that you will find your person, whether it be a love interest or family member or a friend. We all need that support system that will point out our flaws and hold us accountable. And I'm glad that Rose have that in her life because it's extremely important.
They need to
So
get them a shine.
yes, I need to get me a Sean too. So
We're gonna pray
Sean,
about it. We're gonna
my
pray
Sean, if you're
about it.
out there, listen, because
It
I'm
is
not,
really men out there that wanna be that to women,
I,
but we miss it because we feel like they the nice guy and we will play with them. You know what I mean?
yeah. Well, Rose, your story is proof that
Thank
even
you.
when life tries to silence us, purpose has the final say. So thank you so much for choosing to be seen, for choosing to speak
Thank you
from
for
your heart,
having me.
and for reminding every woman listening that survival is sacred and healing is holy.
Yes.
So thank you so much. And guys, my book finally set the date. My book is going to be available on December 1st.
Yay.
And
a lot of what we spoke about today will be in the book. That's why I was like, did Rose read my book?
Our stories are similar. I'm telling you, so many women
Yeah.
I heard with similar stories.
Yes. Yes. So we all have similar stories, and there's a chapter in the books, You're Not Alone. And I'm sure this episode is proof that you're not alone, because somebody listening to this will say, dang, I went through that same exact or similar
I just
situation.
want women to get the help they need. That was
And
my purpose.
I'm sure your purpose has been accomplished, because if
Thank you.
I can resonate with your story, a lot of women will be able to. So thank you so much for being brave and sharing it.
Welcome.
But if you don't mind, if we could end with a prayer.
I love it.
That okay. So, Heavenly Father, thank you so much for this moment and for the vessel you've made in Rose. Lord, you said in your words that what the enemy meant for evil,
Yes.
you would turn for good. And we are witnessing that right now. I thank you for preserving life, for covering her through every storm, and for giving her boldness to share pieces of her journey. So I ask you to continue to strengthen her, heal her and her family, and Sean.
Yes.
Keep close and surround her with the peace that surpasses understanding, Lord.
Yeah.
May your divine assignment in her life be fulfilled in ways that brings her glory and brings her joy. Remind her daily that her life matters, her voice matters, and her story carries weight. We thank you for this sacred space and for the healing that already is happening. Thank you for allowing her to share her story. Thank you for allowing her to be brave enough to sit here with me tonight, dear God, and take time out of her day, because her purpose is to help another woman. Lord, you have appointed us both to be here and to help as many women as we can. And I'm glad you were able to connect me with her. What are the odds? She's in St. Louis. I'm in Georgia. And we were able to connect through the internet, dear
Thank
God. So
you.
thank you so much for pouring into us and giving us the strength that we need to tell our story. In
Yes.
Jesus' mighty name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you.
Thank you.
That was beautiful.
Thank you for watching another episode of The Blueprint. Please subscribe to my channel, like, comment, and share this video. Until next week, take care. Bye.